Fellow EDC enthusiasts, I'm Diener. Welcome to the channel, Genetic Modified Viking. It's a little bit different format. It's a single view perspective, and that's so I can display all the knives here that I'm covering in the video. This video is a result of a tag. Kevin from Duty's Daggers contacted me last night and mentioned that Lefty at Lefty's EDC tagged him, and it's a video about sentimental knives. That is, knives that you have a connection with, you know, that somehow it reminds you of a place, an event, whatever it might be, that you have some connection to, a sentimental connection. So here we go. Mine is in chronological order, kind of along my journey into the EDC and pocket knives hobby. And it started with this right here. It's got to be the Leatherman PST. This is a PST too. It's not the original PST. I did have the original and I lost it. But this is a PST2. Even though it's not a pocket knife, it does have a blade. So I think that we're just going to count that as being part of this theme. So it was once I come from an engineering background, so I appreciate the complexity, the intricate design, and the precision and the functionality of the pocket multi-tools. So that would be number one. Next is something that I'll bet you guys don't have. Nobody has, at least in the listening audience, is look at that pouch. This is an item that it was gifted to me. It was a Christmas gift quite a while ago. And me being the Batman collector, I've got a lot of vintage Batman memorabilia. My son, he used to get an allowance for helping out around the house and doing things. He saved up his money, and he bought this for me for Christmas. And this will always be in my collection. I don't need to tell you or try to explain the sentimental value that this has. He went to the mall with his mom, and he saw this in a display case, and this was his present to me for Christmas. So that will always remain in my collection, and obviously has a tremendous amount of sentimental value right there. Next is going to be my first knife into the pocket knife hobby, and that's this one right here. This is the Kershaw Dividend. And just like any knife that you purchase, usually when you're first getting into the hobby, the criteria of what made you purchase it is completely different than what would be to buy a knife today after being in the hobby for numerous years. It looks mean, right? But coming from engineering background, I can appreciate what it took to make that blade, to fabricate it, and so that was my first knife. I paid 90 bucks for it. At the time, $90 was an insane amount of money as far as I was concerned to spend on a pocket knife, something that just simply cuts. But after getting into the hobby and understanding more about blade steels and different types of materials, titanium, G10, and so on and so forth, of course now I probably wouldn't buy this knife, but this one will remain in my collection. My first pocket knife that I purchased getting into the hobby. Next is a knife that I covered in my introductory video, and that's this guy right here, the Hinder XM18. I have to tell you, and I love the knife. It's an incredible design. The ergos, everything about it. There's been enough videos about all of it. The rush I got, this being the fifth knife, the amount of money I spent on the first 4 knives was half of what I paid for this, 425 bucks. And I have to tell you, the rush of hitting that buy button when I bought this knife was exceeded by far the actual unboxing and getting it into my hands for the first time. However, it does have some sentimental value. This is S45BN. S35 was what the standard production steel was at the time. This was a GP Knives exclusive, so, but at any rate, this will always remain in my collection. I'm going to open this one back up. Next is once I had accumulated numerous knives, I don't know, 50, 60 knives, all modern folders, you get kind of burned out a little bit and you want to expand and learn about other types of knives. And so I did a Google search on traditional pocket knives. And coincidentally, there's a website called Traditional Pocket Knives. And if you haven't visited that website, I recommend you go there. The owner of the company is Austin, great guy. And he gave me an education on traditional pocket knives. Stuff that, you know, is made the old-fashioned way. And he recommended this one right here. This is a GEC. This is the number 86 two-acorn Barlow. And what makes GEC unique is how they make their knives. They make their knives the old-fashioned way. You can go online and look at how they make these, and it's pretty incredible. They make these in a plant that is, I believe it's located in Titusville, Pennsylvania, and it is a building, I think it's probably from the 1800s. And at any rate, they make these the old-fashioned way, and it's pretty amazing. And for them to make it the way they do and to get this kind of fit and finish into a knife is absolutely incredible. When these drop, the demand for these far outweighs what they can produce in the factory. And when these drop, they go extremely quick. Seconds, at the most, minutes. Great walk and talk, great knife. But that was my first traditional pocket knife. And those are pricey. And that was my first traditional pocket knife purchase. Next is from my favorite designer, iconic, absolutely incredible, and that is the Ramon Chavez. Unbelievable design. In my opinion, it is the absolute perfect design, the clean, sleek design. It's a beastie boy. These guys are made of solid plank titanium. Incredible design. This is the old school skull clip, which I much prefer over the newer releases. But the level of detail and the clean lines is just incredible. My favorite knife maker, designer. This was my first Chavez, and I bought this from a place. It's called Ye Old Cutlery and Gift Shop, and the name is completely different than what you would expect from the name when you go online. And they've got quite a variety of traditional as well as modern folders. So I recommend you going there and checking them out. So at any rate, that was my first Chavez. Next is a purchase I made that kind of is linked to a sentimental component. And I watched a guy's channel. I don't remember the name of the channel. However, he made what he called travel purchases, travel knives. And what he meant by that was a knife that you would purchase when you went to a place or an event, and like a wedding or a reception or a passing of a friend, a funeral, or meeting up with an old friend, or whatever the case may be. And that's what this one was. I purchased this. My son, when he went away to college, he goes to Lawrence Technological University, really bright kid. He's going in for biomedical engineering. And I bought this when we went to visit him for the first time when he was at college. And so that's what this is. This is the Case Trapper. Nothing's really special about them. They make these by the millions. And so this was my first travel knife, if you will. Case has been around for years. They've been around for 130 years out of Bradford, Pennsylvania. And for what you pay, you cannot beat these knives. You really can't. They had some quality issues at one point, but they make a pretty decent product for the money. You really can't beat it. So I'm going to put him right there. Next is, along the line of traditional pocket knives, my grandfather, he passed away numerous years ago, But he was a Northern Michigan woodsman. And what I mean by Northern Michigan woodsman, he did everything. He fished, he would hunt, he would trap. He was a deer hunter, bear hunter, raccoon. I mean, this is back in the day. Like I say, he's been dead for several decades, actually. But I did a little research into the traditional pocket knives and maybe what kind of pocket knife would a woodsman carry. And so this is what I came up with, and that is the Case Folding Hunter. This is a beast of a knife. This is from the 1965 to 1969 circa. And if you ever get bored and you're wanting to kind of expand the hobby a little bit, look into Case knives. They have a stamp on the tang here that indicates when the knife or the era that the knife was made. So this was made between 1965 and 1969, which is when my grandfather was still alive. But I sought this out specifically because I figured this would be the knife that my grandfather would have carried. And I sought it out, and it's in absolutely incredible condition. I don't think this thing was used. It might have been just kept on the dresser of somebody that didn't use it much anyway. So like I say, it is a beast of a knife. I'm just gonna, just for fun, I'm gonna put it up here next to the Chavez and the Hinder, so you can really see what we're dealing with there. So that is the knife that reminds me of my grandfather, who I loved very much, and I always enjoyed visiting him as a kid. Next is a custom. This is a custom knife. It was gifted to me by the maker, and that is this little beauty. This was gifted to me by Kevin at Duty's Daggers. Now, when Kevin first started his channel, I helped him out a little bit, sent him some knives to kind of get him on his way, and so in return, he gifted me this knife, and it's a sweet little knife. I mean, I'll tell you what. And if you've never tried to make a knife, give it a shot. It is a whole new level of dedication and skill, and this represents all of that. And so this is one of 6 of Kevin's first attempts at making a pocket knife. So I love the forged look to it, and it just has that rough and tough. Look at the blade steel. I mean, look at the stock. That's got to be 5/16, at least 5/16 of an inch thick. So this was gifted to me by Kevin. So this will always stay in my collection. Most of the people that subscribe to my channel, they are aware of Kevin. If there's anybody watching this that is not aware of Kevin's channel, you got to go there. Great content, very knowledgeable. He is a student of the knife industry, the knife designs. He's very knowledgeable, and I suspect we haven't seen the last of Kevin as it pertains to knife designs and producing knives. So those are the knives that have sentimental value in my collection, and it's really kind of funny when you take a view of and you start really looking at the knives that mean something to you. A whole different perspective emerges from your collection, and keeping along the lines of Sentimental, I tried to pick out a background that kind of represented this whole thing, and that is, life is a journey. This hobby is a journey, and the background here kind of underscores that. Through the ups and downs, the highs and lows. Here's the topographical map. The highs and lows of life, and the people that you meet in your journey, in the world of pocket knives. That your life has meaning. It has purpose, and stay on course. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to the direction that makes you a better person. So, at any rate, there they are. The knives that have sentimental value to me and will always remain in my collection. So, until the next video, this is Diener, signing out.